The guy comes up to us, he says, "Hey, you want to make a hit record?" I mean, just like that. Want to make a hit record.
They were a group of fresh-faced boys with voices and moves that would elevate them to dizzying heights.
Just give the people what they want, you know?
I mean, I had it all at that point.
I think that's why people loved us.
But what they didn't know was that once you reach the top, there's only one direction you can go.
You just refused to drop the Robot Boys.
Didn't make as much gold sacks as they could have. I think they ate Applejack so longer than they should have.
It was also elementary, so pedestrian.
All of a sudden, you've got all these people coming at you from all these different directions.
You know, you end up with all of these other influences, and most of the bad ones.
This is Behind the Music, The Shallow End. It was a typical upbringing for these 5 young gentlemen from Fresno, California. Life could be said to be peaceful, simple, even idyllic, and in the summers, hot.
I remember those summers. You know how they say it's so hot you can fry an egg? Man, how do you think we made breakfast? Yeah, but it was hot.
I remember we all went down to the pool, and it was just full of kids. And that's where we met. But actually, it was Lane who brought us together. You know, he couldn't swim.
I wasn't interested in status quo as an institution. That's all swimming was, man. Get in one end, get out, and do it all over again. Who lives like that? And the thing is, I could see these cats were the same way. So we clicked right from the start.
They called themselves the Shallow End, and while practicing in the garage of Jim's boyhood home, it was only a matter of time before someone took notice.
Yeah, I remember we were playing, and this guy came by, and he had a dog with him, and he just stopped. He just dropped his leash, and the dog didn't move either. The dog just sat there, nodding its head. And the guy comes up to us, he says, "Hey, you want to make a hit record?" I mean, just like that. Want to make a hit record.
I particularly like just pizzazz. Not many people have it, you know. In the UK, most people, most of the time they just dip their toes in the water. These guys just dive right in. To the shallow end, mind you.
We were all petrified, mystified, and circumcised? No. We were excited but confident, you know. Because the 5 of us together, how could we lose? It's like, you ever see that movie where the band gets a hit record and then they try to become famous?
I have.
Was it any good? My daughter keeps telling me to watch it.
Before long, the group had their first hit single.
The gold stacks and apple jacks. Ladies love us and they co-op sex. When you see me, I'm the biggest real fat and rich off record sales.
Would I say that Gold Stacks and Apple Jacks is the greatest album of all time? Maybe not. But Lane and I wrote it, so I was pretty proud.
Gold sacks and Applejacks. Well, when I first heard it, I thought, you know, first off, they'd had too many Applejacks, but, well, I mean, I was just a couple, but they were going to be sitting on gold sacks for the rest of their lives, and I told them this.
Yeah, that was a good one. The line that goes, when you see me, I'll be big as well, fat and rich off record sales. Because, you know, we were young, but we had dreams too.
Dreams that would take them all the way to the top.
It's time for the ultimate experience. With the biggest ballads ever. It's Monster Ballads, the ultimate 4-CD set, complete with 50 huge hits for only $29.99. Order online right now at MusicSpace.com. At only $29.99 for 50 huge hits, this is the only way to get the real Monster Ballads at a value this good. Monster Ballads, the Ultimate 4 CD set now, because every bad boy has his soft side. To order, call the number on your screen or log on to MusicSpace.com. Rush delivery available. Do it now.
With the success of Gold Stacks and Apple Jacks, the Shallow End hit the road on a 20-city coast-to-coast tour that included singing the national anthem at opening day in Seattle. And while they hit the major cities, they also made time for small towns in a nod to their rural roots.
They get everybody. It's any town, USA, all the time, party in somebody's pants. It was never mine. I was never allowed into that part of their lives. Always wanted to.
The group returned home and back into the studio to record the album Take Out the Bread.
I mean, we were out on tour and just toying around with different things, and then Mac, he comes up and he says, why are we making whole songs? I mean, everybody has their favorite part anyway. Why don't we just cut out the build-up?
It's like a meal. You've got your steak, your vegetables, your potatoes, your roll, and your dessert. But all you really want is the steak and the cake. So I said, lose the vegetables, take out the bread. Just give the people what they want, you know?
Take Out the Bread became one of the fastest selling albums of all time. The first video alone raced to the top of the TRL countdown and stayed there until it was retired.
I remember being backstage at TRL this one time, and Carson Daly comes to the back. So I'm like, Carson, man, huge fan of yours. And he says, "No, man, you got the roles reversed." And I'm like, that's when I knew something was special with this group.
One of my favorite things about the Shallow End is that they, no matter what everyone else is doing, they will look everyone else right in the face and say, we're not going to do that. And I think that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of pure and utter stupidity, to be honest. And but that's the brilliance, is the stupid.
I missed this part.
The band was riding high, but not everyone was high on them.
I gave them the best choreography of my life. I mean, who else does this? Me. And only me. Lane, that guy in my face multiple times. I tried to give him one of these moves, giggled. Jeff, if I had a quarter for every fireplace that he next to, I wouldn't be sitting in this garage with only a penny. Jimmy, that guy got down on his knee more than once, and I was one of his. Steven's the only cool one.
Despite the detractors, fans remained loyal to the Shallow End.
So we've named the fan club the Splash Zone, which is appropriate. There's still only one member, myself, and I think that's because the barrier to entry is pretty high. There's a dance component. We also want to know whether or not you're an astrological love match with any of the members. Like, Jason's a Taurus. Are you a Virgo?
With Take Out the Bread, the band had reached their creative and commercial apex, but they would soon discover the darker side of success.
Michelangelo did the Sistine Chapel. Da Vinci had the Mona Lisa. Some guys invented Mountain Dew. Can you imagine asking them, what's next? I mean, where can you go?
We were young, okay? All that overnight success, the fame, we were probably too young for that. Too young for that magic. Yeah, it was too much.
The truth is, Lane and Jeff were always going to look out for themselves. I mean, truth be told, they were the poets of the group.
Man, I always had that elemental, surreptitious, cosmological essence.
I mean, 50's coming knocking on my door.
I had an offer to work with JT Money.
James Taylor wants an album with me. Lifetime offers me a 3-picture deal. I mean, I had it all at that point.
I was even linked Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Were the rumors true?
It's difficult, you know. All of a sudden, you've got all these people coming at you from all these different directions. Do this, do that. But you really want to focus on music too, but, you know.
Yeah, you know, you end up with all these other influences, and they're mostly bad ones.
The following year, the group released the album The Time Is Now and Later, a series of futuristic songs based on Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles.
Look, it was ahead of its time, and that's all I'll say about it.
Public wasn't ready for it. That hurt. It hurt especially for Steven. You know, he wrote a lot of songs for that album, and you know, was the public ready for Robot Love? I don't know. I think it was probably a mistake to sing in robot voice.
Time, question, man, future, knowledge. Time, question, man, future, knowledge.
There Steven is with his robot voice, and everyone said, no, I don't want to hear it. My ears hurt. I don't hear in binary. I remember hearing, and I hear in binary. And let me tell you a little secret. So does the other half of the world, America.
My favorite album that they did is the album Now and Later. It's just A, all girls love robots, but B, it's so hopeful. The way they talk about the future, I mean, that's a promise.
Who knows? 10 years from now, actually, you know, it's been 10 years from then to now. But now is later, and if later's now, well then, you know, Steven talks about all this stuff, and most of the time he's just curled up in the fetal position.
When he finally would come into the studio, I mean, he just wasn't the same guy. He refused to drop the robot voice. And he kept talking about riding a spaceship to a distant planet and other madness like that.
From the get-go, we knew what he was. Well, maybe the band did, but the critics didn't, you know. He had the penguin suit. He had the looks. But let's be honest, he was seasonal. When it's freezing in New York, you don't want to see a penguin dancing around. No, you want to see something that's hot.
Citing poor critical and commercial reception for the most recent album and increased unpredictability, the record label made a decision. Steven was out of the group.
It's funny, because the first thing that we thought about when we found out about Steven was, who's going to get the money, right? Who's going to get his cut? It's crazy how the mind works. You know what? Can we not? Let's not do that one. I want to do another one. That one, I don't like it. So go ahead and you just race that one, and we'll go from here. Okay. I'm ready. You know, first thing we found out about Steven, everyone was saying we gotta get him some help because we care about him. And it's like, I remember people were talking to us saying, "Well, what about the money?" And we say, "Who cares about the money? He's our friend." And so yeah, he was in a bad way. I like that one. I like that one a lot better. I mean, can you imagine the first one? I mean, it's like, oh, I only care about money. I don't care about Steven, which I don't. But on the other hand, please cut that part also, and the stuff before it. But the middle stuff is good. Everything else cut.
After Steven's abrupt departure, the group attempted to reclaim the magic that fueled their earlier successes. The result was an embarrassing fourth album, Off the Deep End. A failure on every level, it was only a matter of time before they decided to go their separate ways.
It was also elementary, so pedestrian. We were finished and we knew it. So yeah, I pursued other interests.
Lane released Safe Search Off, a hip-hop album that topped the charts in 14 countries. But despite his lavish lifestyle, he remains committed to a simple philosophy.
If you want to change the world, start in the heart. Every time. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Jeff, the heartthrob of the group, took up acting, getting bit parts in TV movies.
What should I say?
How should I know? You man to do something for Christ's sake.
He soon went from movies to professional wrestling.
It had always been a love of mine. Growing up watching Hogan's, The Flairs, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior. And, I mean, to get an opportunity to do something that you love, I mean, it's a rare thing. And I feel like what I had with the group, it really prepared me for the fame of being the chameleon. I mean, getting to wrestle in front of scores and scores of fans.
Scores? How many are we talking about here?
A score is 3, isn't it? So, I mean, at least a score of scores.
At least or at most?
Well, I'm fighting for the belt next week. I mean, do you want to come out and watch?
Repeated attempts to contact Stephen for this program were unsuccessful. There is one person, however, who does manage to stay in contact with him.
You know, I was talking to Steven the other day, and he said, Dewdrop, let's do a video together. A day on the moon. You know? The sky's the limit. The moon's the limit. That guy is a genius, and they should have never made fun of him for his robot voice. He's brilliant. Pretty sure he's the father of at least one of my kids.
After finding early success as a motivational speaker, Mac penned a self-help bestseller entitled, If You're Not Better Than Me, Why Try?
See, I'm what we call in the business a reality checker. I go into these schools, these colleges, I'll come to your place of business, and I say, if you're not better than me, why try? That may sound harsh, but, I mean, check it out. Like, I'm not going to be better than Michael Jordan at basketball, so I'm not going to try to play. Conversely, he can't out-sing me, so he shouldn't put an album out. All I'm saying is, find what you're good at, develop that, and in your life, take the bread out, find your steak, your cake, and work on that. It works in music, it works in life.
Jim left showbiz entirely, and he now long hauls freight up and down the state of California.
You know, I'm happy doing exactly what I'm doing now. I don't need the fame or the fortune. But would I do it again? I don't know. The money was good. There were the women. I would love to see those guys again.
And their fans would love to see them together again on the stage. But the question remains, will it happen?
You never know.
Anything's possible!
No, I wouldn't do it again. And even if I did, I would have some serious stipulations. I don't think Jeff can perform with us again. The man's lost all credibility with me as far as I'm concerned. He's passing out flyers in front of supermarkets now. I mean, I was in the cereal aisle last week, and here comes Jeff telling me he's fighting for the title. What title? How did you find me? But would I do it again? Yeah, I'd do it again.
Let me put it to you this way. Don't plan anything on July 15th.
This week's cover is actually featuring Jimmy posing as a group.
Oh, and that's Lane. That's Lane right there.
They add extra years to people's lives. And that's a fact. There are scientists that say that the lyrics they choose are so motivational, uplifting that, you know, even old people might die younger.